Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining a new webinar from Invesp. We will give people, I see more and more people are joining, so we'll give people just about 30 more seconds before we get started. If you would just do me a favor before we get started, if you're able to hear me well, you can just use the chat feature just to make sure that you're able to hear me and that I'm coming through well. This is, by the way, Khaled Saleh, in case we haven't met and you don't know me. This is Khaled Saleh. I am the CEO of Invesp, CEO and co-founder of Invesp. With that, I'm just gonna get started. We have a very interesting webinar today. We are going to be talking about an actual case study for one of the clients that we've had. Gonna run you through the offers that we've had with them during Black Friday, Cyber Monday of last year. The results, the process, just kind of some thoughts there on what happened with that project. And I guess in the webinar title and description, it shows that we were able to generate $850,000 for them within the span of 1 week. Having said that, I think we are ready to get started. So with that, let me just share my screen. So just quick notes, if you have any questions, please do use the chat feature. And I see already that some people are sending me some question. Yeah, there's it seems like the sound looks good. The picture is a bit glitchy. That's what you get when you use the GoToMeeting. So with that, let's jump in. Let's jump in over here again. Like I said, if you have any questions, use the chat feature. Send me any questions. I'll try and answer those features. With that, let's jump in. And my cursor completely disappeared. Go figure. Let me just try and do this. Okay, here we go. So cursor is back. So quick background about Invesp, just kind of to give you guys an idea about the work that we do. We established Invesp back in 2006, second dedicated conversion optimization company, dedicated CRO, dedicated to CRO in North America. Now, over the years, we've worked with clients large and small, from the small startups to the enterprise. Some of our clients include eBay, 3M, Special Olympics. And the reason I mention all of this, because over the year, there has been something very consistent. And I always tell people, I'm like, how do you end up whenever you're doing digital marketing? How do you end up with a furious or pissed client? Typically, what happens with the client is that their growth at some point stagnates. That they're increasing their conversion rate, they're increasing their revenue, and at some point they go flatline. So they read about conversion optimization. They think to themselves, you know what? I can do some of those A/B tests. I can do conversion optimization, and I can increase my sales by 50, 60, maybe double my sales. We've had some client that came to us and said, hey, I think it's very reasonable for me to quadruple my online sales within 12 months. Project starts, CRO firm is delivering A/B tests, running experimentation, and what ends up happening is they're able to increase the site conversion rate, but they're not able to meet the client's expectation. So what happens is the client is just extremely pissed. It's like, what the heck just happened? That's how you end up with a furious client. Now, how do you end up with an ecstatic client? Same scenario. Sales had flatlined, and the client wants to see an increase in sales. They expect, to deliver amazing results. You come in, and you just really double or quadruple their expectations. That's how you end up with an ecstatic client. And the process that I'm going to share with you and the actual case studies that I'm going to share with you today actually go to demonstrate some of the things that we do to make sure that we have ecstatic clients, happy clients. So a few years ago, basically, sorry, I'm looking over here. for some reason, these slides, I think they came from another slide. So one of the first things that you want to do um, before you start doing conversion rate optimization on a project looking to increase a website sales, you want to evaluate what type of site that you have on your hands. And that you want to evaluate three different things. You want to evaluate as you're going through the site, what kind of what kind of problems are you seeing on the website? Are you seeing bugs? Just poor software implementation. So that's what we refer to kind of in the red color. Are you seeing UX issues? And by UX I mean or usability issues. A button, you click on a button, but what you expect to happen doesn't happen. Images are not in the right place, wrong title. So those are UX issues. Or are you seeing conversion issues? Are you seeing that there's no site, no persuasive elements present on the site, no incentives, none of the psychological factors that can help you actually persuade a visitor? So you want to evaluate the site. So if you have a site that has a lot of bugs in it, to the point that really they eclipse any usability and conversion issues, then that's what we call a throwaway website. Now, sometimes you might have a site that has bugs, but it also has lots of usability issues. That's a site that requires some really heavy fixing. Same thing if, well, I have few bugs, but I have lots of usability issues. Yes, there is heavy fixing there. And really, the type of increases in conversion rates that you see as a result of having these sites will vary. Because sometimes some of those bugs are just so bad that they're actually stopping people from converting on your website. I'll give you an example. Recently, I was at a website, wanted to buy tickets, actually airline tickets. So you figure, at this point, the airline industry really should know what they're doing. And I have my credit card in hand, and I go in, and I'm trying just to buy the ticket. So I'm highly motivated. I need to get to this other city. And no matter what I tried, the site had a bug basically where it did not accept the type of credit card I was using. And basically I could not complete the purchase. So that's the type of site that you have over here. Now, if you have very few bugs, you have very few usability issues, then that's when you focus, now we don't need to really worry about bugs. We don't need to worry about usability. That's where basically a CRO company can come in and do just some amazing work. And you will always want to distinguish, and I'm going to jump in right away to the actual case studies to show you, but you want to think about three different levels of items that you want to distinguish between. So there is, again, at the very, very basic level, there's bugs that you have on the website, there's performance issues if the site is taking too long to load, or if there's basically the mobile version of the site is not working. Those are kind of foundational elements. You have to hit those before you start thinking about usability and conversion. I was talking recently to a company that is based overseas, and they were complaining about their site conversion rate. And I tried to load the website, and it was taking about 20 seconds, 21 seconds, 22 seconds to load up a single page. Now, I told them, before we start talking about conversion and usability, focus on the site performance. You need to have your pages load in less than 5 seconds. Now, I know that there's some companies that try and push less than 3 seconds, less than 2 seconds. I just think that the improvement that you will gain from 20 seconds to 5 seconds is tremendous. Going from 5 seconds to 4 seconds for page load time is not going to be as much, and you want to calculate your ROI on that effort. Next level is usability items, and again, by usability, the site is performing how the users are expecting it to perform. And then at the top of the pyramid is the conversion items. Now, I want you to see that, and we talk about it in terms of a company, a consulting company that provides CRO services. The level of effort that's required from our clients increases at the bottom, because when it comes to bugs, when it comes to performance, there is a level of effort that's required from them. While if we're fixing conversion issues, we don't ask our clients to get involved. Let's say you're thinking about it from your perspective, from your own site. Bugs, performance, mobile compatibility issues, those are items that are going to require your dev team to be involved, correct? You don't want to hire an external consultant to fix those. Usability is kind of a mix. You can bring in a consultant or an employee, but you still also need your dev team to be involved whenever you look at conversion. No, at that point in time, when it comes to conversion, you're really looking at this. No problem. Okay. Are you guys able to hear me, by the way? Because I'm seeing that there is a problem with the voice. I'm getting messages, mixed messages when it comes to voice. So I want to make sure that people can hear me because I've been going on for a little while. I'm assuming that people can hear me. Let's see, audio. Hello, hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? Okay. Yeah, so I got some messages that saying that we can't hear you. I hope that everybody can hear me. Okay, so and again, finally, before we jump into the case study, when it comes to conversion optimization, that top of the pyramid area, what do you focus on? Because lots of times when we talk about conversion optimization, people are really confused on what that means. And many times when people are looking at conversion optimization, guess what they're doing? They're testing usability issues. They're making sure that the buttons are working correctly. They're making sure that things are laid out correctly. Well, that's usability. Yes, it's good, but you don't need to be fixing a usability issue and then saying, oh, I'm going to run an A/B test to validate that usability fix is actually helping me increase my conversion rates. No. Whenever you're conducting any type of experimentation, should be on conversion items. Now, when we say conversion items, here are some areas that you want to focus on. At the very foundation of conversion items, there's trust elements on the site. How do you actually make sure that people are trusting your website? If they don't trust you, they could not care. They're not going to transact with you. What are the fears and certainties that people have? How do you incentivize visitors to act? How do you engage your visitors? How do you deal with sales complexity? And how do you deal with buying stages? Lots of times when people talk about conversion optimization, they're stuck at the very first level, trust, FUDs, and incentives. But there's so many other levels to increasing website conversion rates. So again, engagements. And I'll just talk about engagement. I'll talk about value proposition. Those are kind of to give you an example. One of the biggest challenges that we see that brands struggle with is they all look alike. In the mind of your target clients and in the mind of your target customers, you're not different than any other competing brand, and that is a huge problem. So how do you actually capture the interest of those visitors to make sure that they're actually have some sort of affinity to you? That's when we talk about engagement. At the very top of the pyramid, at the top of the square, when it comes to conversion optimization, is value proposition. And I've actually been writing about this yesterday and today on my LinkedIn profile, talking about how difficult it is to come up with a unique value proposition, something that is unique to your business. And I was giving an example of Invesp and how the evaluation, the evolution that we've had over the years since 2009 until 2019. Now we're about to enter 2020. The evolution of our value proposition, how it changed, and how at some point we thought to ourselves, we have a unique value proposition, but then when we talk to clients, they're like, oh, you guys look and sound exactly the same as the other top 3 or 4 CRO firms in the world. So with all of that, I know you guys are here to see examples of an actual increase in a website conversion rate. So let me give you some background. So last year, Z Gallery, which is one of the large furniture retailers, signed up with us basically about 5 days before Black Friday. And the CMO called me, and we became really good friends over the last now. They just renewed with us. He came and he said, Khaled, you can make my life tremendously easier if you guys are able to show any type of increase in conversion rates in the Black Friday, Cyber Monday test that you are gonna do for us. Interesting challenge. I told him, of course, we can do that. And now, typically, we do not make any promises in terms of increasing conversion rates for any of our clients. We tell people you can be working with us for a few months, and we don't figure out what makes your visitors click, because when it comes to increasing conversion rates, you're trying to decipher the human mind, which is extremely difficult. But I'm going to show you the actual tests that we ran for them, 2 tests that we ran for them. So we'll start with the mobile test. So this is their original page. And this test we ran it on their product pages. Now, this is V1 and this is V2, as you see over here. So what we did is we actually went for a usability area. We did not think about conversion optimization. We did not think about conversion principles. We said, you know what, since we have such limited time, where we're going to succeed under limited time is by focusing on usability and focusing on messaging. So the bottom of the pyramid, if you recall. So what we did over here, in V1, as you see, it's a sticky cart. Add to cart is in black, and with an offer, 40% off. So we're really focusing on the offer. Now, there is a little bit of conversion that plays into this, correct? Because we're focusing on the incentive. We're making it a bit more prominent with the sticky cart. So like you can debate whether it's conversion or usability. And V2, the button, that the difference between V1 and V2 is just the color of the button. So before I move, let me ask you this. So the original V1, V2, which variation do you think increased the site conversion rates? So I'm gonna give people a chance to answer this and see. So what do you think? Do you think V1 increased conversion rates? Let's use the chat functionality and let's see what you think. I'm gonna do this over here. So what do you think? V1, V2, what do you think increased V1, V1, V1? It seems almost that there is consistent. So let's see what the results are. So I am gonna switch over here. Come on, cooperate with me. V1, my friends, generated a 3.1% increase in conversions. Now, by the way, for a company that does a few $1 million in sales per day, yeah, 3.1% is an amazing result. So those of you guys who have selected V1, really, yes, that, oh man, now I'm seeing after we sort of announced, now it's split 50-50, but V1 is the winner. So again, what was the difference between V1, V2? Is just the messaging. So let's continue back over here. Wow, look at V2 and what it did. V2 actually did better at 10.7 increase in conversion rates. Both variations increased conversion rates. The V1 actually increased conversions by 3%. V2 increased conversions by 10.7%. And again, if you're doing $1 million of sales in a day, 10% is actually not bad. So let me ask you this question, because this test ran for 1 day, and they do about $1 million. Let's say they do about $1 million of sales during that day. What's the actual increase in sales as a result of running this test? After 24 hours, we ran this test. What do you think the actual cumulative actual dollar value increase in sales? Let me give you a chance to think about this. What do you think? Did we achieve actually $100,000 if they're doing $1 million increase in sales? A little bit of math, quick math work. So I'm gonna actually switch and see what people are saying over here. About $10,000, no. If they're doing $1 million and we've generated for them 10% and a 3% uplift, it's not 10%, it's not $10,000 if you think about it. So the traffic was split equally between 3 different variations. 2 of the variations, one generated 3%, one generated 10%. So on average, the variations generated about 6.5%. So we've done about $65,000 of additional revenue for them, which is not bad at all. But they ran this variation actually for the rest of the month. So it did about $65,000 on the first day. But then we took the winner, V2, and we made it at a 10% increase in sales. This by itself this test generated almost $400,000 of additional revenue for the clients. During the first day, it generated only $65,000 because we had, remember, some of the traffic went to the control, some of the traffic went to V1, which was only giving about 3% uplift. Some of the traffic went to V2. After the first 24 hours, and we've determined the winner. And this is the type of site, by the way, that gets just thousands of conversions in a single day. So they can afford that. With smaller websites, it's a different story. Then we took V2 and we ran V2, and that did about $400,000 of additional sales. Okay, so that's one test. Let's continue. This is the whole page of the gallery. This is the control. And again, what you notice over here is that they have different offers, 25% off, free shipping. That's what they kind of relied on. Now I'm going to show you the different variations. So there's the control, V1, V2, V3, and I want to just highlight kind of the differences between these variations. So as you see over here, we tried to emphasize the offer that they have. So it's much more prominent. And then basically, like, the question is like, the area that we have. And let me see if I'm able to switch to this again. Over here, where it says 25% free shipping, 30% off, again, the same offers, but then it was a question, do you put featured products or you put a single product? So the question again to you, which variation, V1, V2, V3 increased sales? What do you guys think? Now I see that's V3. Ahmed is telling me V3 seems to be the winner. What do you guys think? V1, V2, V3, what do you guys think? I'm going to give you a chance. Actually, I'm not going to rush because sometimes it's a little difficult to tell the difference. So let's take a look. So I'm seeing the votes are split actually between V2 and V3. But I would have to say that there's more votes that are going for V2, and I'm about to close this. So V2, V2, yep, more votes are coming to V2. Let's take a look and see. Look at the results. So yeah, V1 did not do all too well, 6.4%. V2 completely crushed it. A 26% increase in sales versus V3 also did really well, by the way, with a 14% increase in sales. But ultimately, V2 is the one that really killed it. So basically, it's a very focused offer. By the way, notice like, over here, we're trying to strengthen the brand in V1 by using some images. No, the clarity of the offer trumps that. And then also figuring out like, here's the hot deals and bring in the hot deals. And by the way, like, there's a question, like, why did they use like, 70% versus what they were using, 25%. So what we did is we looked at their items, and they had quite a few items at 70%. So we said up to 70% off. So yes, V2 completely killed it. Now, eBay is a long time client of Invesp. We've been working with them now for many years. And I wanted to give this example for people just to think about optimization and what they do. So this is the eBay mobile app over the years. And I want to show you the evolution of the eBay mobile app and how it changed. So this is the eBay mobile app. This is when back in the day they acquired this company where you can scan the barcode of an item. And I don't know if you guys been doing this for a long time, but oh man, this is sad. But maybe like, it just shows how old this has been. Like, almost 18 years ago, it used to be a big thing where you can scan the barcode. So this is when they bought the scan code, so they added it over here. Then they noticed that people were not noticing it. So look, let's go ahead and add a red line. Maybe people will notice it. Oh, people are not noticing it. Let's add the word scan next to it. Let's change how the categorization look. Oh my God, the scan is completely gone. Let's just remove it. Let's move the search up there. Maybe we can increase the engagement that people have. Oh, people are not using the search. Let's remove the search completely. Oh no, let's bring the search back. Now let's change the categorization. And if you think about it, lots of times when people approach conversion optimization, trying to increase their website conversion rate, this is exactly what they do. They are tweaking the template, they are moving pixels around, and they are hoping for miracles. And unfortunately, miracles do not happen when you are just merely tweaking without thinking about the visitors. The problem is you attend any webinar, if you go to any conference, you buy any marketing book, everybody tells you to focus on customers and focus on clients, to the point that it became meaningless. I was just listening to, I was dropping my son in the morning to his school, and I'm listening to this ad, and this law office basically said, they had their ad on the radio and said, we put clients first. I thought to myself, I just sort of like, chuckled. I'm like, well, that's what marketers do. That's what we say. We put clients first, put the customers first. I'm like, I wonder what that means for the law office to say we put clients first. What, you don't charge them? You don't worry about them? It's one of those things that, like, everybody says that it became really very meaningless. Now, here's another metric that's sort of interesting and might be of interest to you, is think about every year Invesp does a benchmark for different websites to try and basically see how well we benchmark sites on 20 different metrics when it comes to conversions and their ability to persuade visitors to convert. The average site on basically when we benchmark them scores 49%. Now, 49% is disastrous. That means you're really not doing well. 49 out of 100, of course. And at the same time, 49% means that's a huge opportunity for you to improve. But we're talking about 2019, we're about to enter 2020, and people are still stuck. So let's jump in over here. I'm going to give you just a few thoughts on things that you can do to improve a website conversion rate. One of the very first things that I always tell companies whenever I talk to is most websites, when they're first starting out and they're getting targeted traffic, their conversion rates are actually good. But as they start increasing traffic, you start your conversion rates start dropping. However, there are few and select websites that are able to deliver exceptional results. They increase their traffic and they increase their conversions. Now, one of the most common questions that I hear about whenever I give talks at conferences, at webinars, what's the average website conversion rate? And as a matter of fact, if you just Google average website conversion rate, you'll see that Invesp is probably the first or second result, because we publish those studies every year. We do an analysis. Right now, we're doing the analysis for 2019. And we include about, I think, close to couple thousand websites in the analysis. If you're asking what is the average website conversion rate, you're asking the wrong question. Because we've had actually one company that came to us and they said, hey, our conversion rate for first-time visitors is 40%, for returning visitors is 81%. Yes, that is 81%. You've heard the number correctly. And they're saying, they told us, hey guys, can you help us increase our website conversion rate? That's the right attitude. So what you need to do is you need to deliver 25 to 35%, 30% increase in conversions year after year. That should be your goal. Don't think about doubling your conversion rates year after year. That's just difficult unless you have a really horrible website. 30% I think is a very reasonable goal. The other thing that I always say, people, oh my God, I hear this quite a bit. People are always asking me about the low-hanging fruit. Well, we have some low-hanging fruit. Maybe that will help us increase conversion rates. The only reason you think the fruit is low-hanging because you're far away from the tree. Increasing conversion rates, it is really hard. And lots of times, I mentioned this, people confuse usability with conversions. Again, usability is about making sure that the site is usable, and conversion is about persuasiveness. It's the difference between, oh, I can buy on this website versus I want to buy from this website. There's a big difference between the two. How do I explain this? And this is kind of maybe the perfect example. There's a very famous saying, people don't buy quarter-inch drills, that people buy quarter-inch holes, correct? I mean, I think Professor Levitt from Harvard popularized that saying. So you don't buy a quarter-inch drill, you're buying the quarter-inch hole. That's the reason you buy the drill. But I don't know about you, but I've never bought a quarter-inch drill. I've never bought a quarter-inch hole. Really what I'm buying is a couple of things. First, the peace of mind from basically my children and my wife nagging me about the pictures, not hanging the pictures on the wall. I want them to stop. And then it's funny because we just moved to a new house in Chicago. And that's one of the things. For a long time, I had the pictures on the ground and the kids were playing soccer and basketball, and then they will in the basement and they'll throw the ball and they will hit the pictures, and it was a headache. So what I bought really, when I went to Home Depot and I bought the drill, I actually bought an emotional state. The rest that I'm gonna get after I hang those pictures. Something else I bought when I bought the drill, I actually bought the ability to show off all these different beautiful paintings that we have and the pictures of my kids to my friends. So there's a social element. So there is an emotional and a social element to any purchase that a person makes. When it comes to usability, when you're focused on usability, you're just thinking about the drill and how big the hole that the drill you can drill. When you focus on the emotional and social aspects, needs that the customer buys a product, that's a whole different ballgame. That's when you're able to establish your brand differently. Another thing that I always say, lots of times people ask, whenever we're conducting customer research, they ask people, why did you buy this? Why did you buy that? And I think it's a horrible question to ask any customer. Why? It's a horrible question to ask me. Why did you buy the drill? Well, I bought it because I want to hang the pictures. What you want to ask, and when you ask why, you get top of mind answers, quick answers. Well, yeah, I bought the drill because my wife is asking me and I just wanted to hang the pictures. But when you ask when did you buy the drill? Well, I bought the drill because when my wife continued telling me, it's like, oh, look at what happened with the pictures. Look at, like, the kids and what they're doing. My friends were coming. Now, if you listen carefully and you're asking when, you can really start deciphering emotional and social elements that impact a buying decision. So just kind of as a good rule, if you just take this out of the webinar and trying to decipher human interaction, human behavior, whenever you're conducting user research, don't ask why. Why is going to give you top of mind answers. Always ask when. What was happening before you made that decision? For those of you who are on the webinar, and I see quite a few. So we've released FigPie, FIGPII, FigPie. FigPie is a conversion optimization platform. It offers you A/B testing, polls, recording, session replay. It offers you heat maps. It offers opt-in forms. Opt-in forms are actually still in the works, but you can conduct all of this with a single Java script. You can get 30 free days basically using the platform. So you can just check out the website. It's just an absolutely, it's a tool that our clients are using, large and small are using this tool right now. Okay, let's talk about the process. And I want to, I'm going to spend the next 10 minutes talking about the process, then I'll open it up for questions if anybody has any questions. So this is the process that we follow to increase conversion rates. And we are in a unique position right now where we've actually managed to say, you know what, we're not able to take any clients now for the next two months. There has been so much demand for conversion optimization. So I'd like to share the process, because you can take this process and you can apply it on your own website, and you'll be able to increase conversion rates. So the process that we follow, we refer to it as ship, because you constantly want to be shipping new features, new improvements to your website. And it breaks down to all these different steps, 14 different steps. So the very first step is called what we call scrutinize, hypothesize, implement, and propagate. Most of your time, whenever you're trying to increase a website conversion rate, you spend the time in the scrutinize phase. So let's talk about the scrutinize phase. First thing that you want to do is you want to figure out the job. Conduct what we call jobs to be done analysis. Figure out the job that customers hire you to do. So I'll give an example from Invesp, and you can apply it to your site. So for a long time, we thought to ourselves that we, as a conversion optimization company, clients hire us to increase their website conversion rates. Now, when you start thinking that way, you're thinking, well, my competitors are other conversion optimization companies, and the scope of your services become really limited. When we talk to our clients, we figured out that really they're not. They might say that they are hiring us to increase their conversion rates, but they're not. What they are hiring us to do is to increase their revenue. Now, guess what? If a client is hiring Invesp to increase their revenue, they could go ahead and hire another SEO company. They hire a PPC company, maybe hire a branding agency, maybe they hire another developer on their team to add some more features. And our universe of competition increased tremendously. And it was always like that. We were just not aware of it. So the question is, what do companies hire you to do? What kind of progress they hire you to do in their lives? And I'll give you an example. This is from an absolutely amazing friend, Bob Mista. Basically, he's based in Detroit. He's kind of like, the guy who came up with the thoughts and ideas about the jobs to be done. Then Professor Clayton Christensen, who's an absolutely amazing mind, also based in Harvard, kind of put it in a book. But the question that Bob had faced, McDonald's came to him and said, hey, we want to increase the sales of milkshakes. How do you do that? So how do you increase the sale of milkshakes? Well, when Bob and his partner, they asked people, like, well, what should we do? What do we need to do to increase the sale of milkshakes? People were telling them, well, you need the different flavors, different consistency, different this, different that. And no matter what they did, sales just remained flat. So Bob decided to do something a little different. And they asked, it's like, well, why do people buy milkshakes? So in order for them to answer that question, they started hanging out at McDonald's from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m. for a whole month, watching people buy milkshakes. And then they discovered that there's two different types of buyers for milkshakes. There are buyers that come into McDonald's from 9 to 11 a.m. And those are people who are going to work. They want to get something quick. They don't want to buy a McMuffin. They don't want to buy something greasy. They really want something that people are not going to judge them. So, and they want to buy something that's going to last for a little while. They're going to basically drink it for the next hour or so. And then they notice that there is another group that basically comes and buys milkshakes between the hours of 4 to 6. And those are parents. Basically, those parents have been telling their kids, no, this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. And by 4 o'clock, they bring their kids to McDonald's to buy something. And the kids are looking at them. It's like, yeah, you can go ahead and get a milkshake. Those are the afternoon milkshake buyers, completely two different categories. Now, when you understand your buyers and what motivates them, remember, the group in the morning is buying something for a certain motivation, completely different motivation for the group that's coming to buy. There's some resources that are available that can explain to you how to run jobs to be done analysis. Next thing that you want to do is you want to do an expert review. An expert review is when you walk through your site, understanding now the jobs that people hire you to do, and you want to evaluate basically elements of the website. You want to evaluate, is the site sending the right trust signals? Are we dealing with the fears, uncertainties, and doubts? Do we have the right incentives? This is sort of an interesting way, and this also again comes from the Rewired group from Bob Mist, and I like the way they just put this. Now we can drill it down a lot deeper, but it basically tells you that when people make decisions, basically there is a push of current situation. They're frustrated, they don't like something, and that's really pushes them to make a decision. And sometimes there's something magnetic about the new solution. And the best way to explain this, think about the new iPhone. So I just got myself the iPhone 11 after waiting for years. I think the last time I bought an iPhone was almost 4 or 5 years ago. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really need to buy a new iPhone. I didn't see the benefit. But then the new cameras that they released, really, there was something magnetic about it. But at the same time, the fact that I broke my old iPhone, that was the push of the current situation. So those are things that actually help people buy, and you need to understand those factors. At the same time, there's factors that push people away from buying. So habit of the present, the status quo. Can I, do I really want to buy a new phone? I'm not sure. And then there's the anxiety of the new solution. Is buying the iPhone is the best solution? Or maybe I should be getting another, a Samsung device. So those are things that push people in the opposite direction. You want to conduct user research. And again, remember, this is all part of the scrutinized phase. So you want to conduct user research. That's when and you see those, correct? Those pop-ups that appear on the site asking, what brought you to our website today? You want to understand the motivators. You want to understand, why are people coming to the site? You want to understand the barriers, what's stopping you from converting, and you want to understand for people who converted, what persuaded you to convert. Again, you want to be careful when you're conducting this type of solution. I'll give you an example from the 1920s, where basically all these skyscrapers that were built had a single elevator in them. And as more and more people lived in the skyscrapers, it became a horrendous problem because everybody's waiting for the elevator. So basically the architects asked people, what do we do? And the solution was, well, build more elevators. Well, guess what? The building is already built. It is difficult to build a new elevator. I mean, how can we do that? Let me see. I'm seeing how long should the user research phase could be. Oh my God, user research is constantly running. You're always asking questions. Remember, you're doing jobs to be done analysis, which is part of user research, is very deep interviews, but at the same time, you're always asking questions, trying to get insights, to understand basically what are the issues that people are dealing with. So we never stop. So going back to the elevators, so basically the suggestion that came from people is, well, build more elevators. Great, except that building new elevators is horrendous and is going to cost a ton of money. So what was the solution? The solution was much simpler. Let's add some mirrors. And you see this, by the way, nowadays, whenever you get into elevator, you probably haven't thought about it. The reason we have mirrors is because now people we didn't have to build new elevators. We did not have to deconstruct some buildings. Instead, now people are busy. They do not have to look at each other. So instead of, if we had followed the top of mind answers, would have cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. Next, you want to do data analysis. That's when you're looking at your analytics, you're looking at heat maps, you're looking at video recordings. And again, those are exercises that are happening at least once a month, where you're looking at your data to see your different funnels on the website and how people are interacting. These are some resources when it comes to analytics and looking at analytics. Then you want to do some usability testing. That's when you bring in some users on the, you give them specific tasks to do on the site, and then you watch them. You observe them to see, are they doing those tasks? What is their success ratio? I give those tasks to 10 people. Are all of them able to complete the task, or half of them, or is it 10% of them? How long is it taking them to complete the task? You might expect a certain task to take 10 seconds, and it's taking people 10 minutes. You have a problem. When you go through the scrutinize phase, each one of those phases, you end up with anywhere 50, 100, 150 problems. I was conducting a scrutinize phase and we just did the expert review portion of it with our team on our own website. And I think we just did one element of the expert review. So one element of one element. And I think on our side, and we are a conversion optimization company, and we spend quite a bit of time looking at our site. Sometimes we're too busy because we're helping clients. And I think we've uncovered through, again, this is 10%, actually probably 5% of the analysis, about 50 issues on the site. And I'm sure if we do the full analysis, we'll uncover on our own website probably 150 items. Now, do you fix all 100, 150, 200 items? No. What you do is you classify them. There are items that you want to fix right away. A spelling mistake on the site, something really silly, a button that's not working, you fix right away. You don't need to test that. Sometimes some of the items you uncover, you say, oh, we're not tracking the correct events, so there's some instrumentation. The funnels are not set up correctly, so you want to set up the funnels. Sometimes you see that, oh, well, maybe there's a missing social proof, or trust is not very strong, or something where you say, you know what, this is a potential A/B test. And then sometimes you see a certain user behavior and you say, you know what, we need to investigate this further. We need to ask more questions. So you classify the 100 or 150 items into different buckets. You take those items, first thing that and as you see, it's usually a humongous list, the page, the experience, the item, where did we discover it? Then you prioritize it. And I've written an article about the prioritization. We use 18 different metrics to score each one of those items that we have. The nice thing about the prioritization exercise is at the end of it, instead of just 150 random items, now we have them prioritized. So we know which item we're gonna focus on. That's when we move on to the hypothesis phase. I know the first item that I need to focus on. Now I need to come up with, now I start thinking about the solutions. And by the way, that's a problem. Lots of times people come up with oh, well, we need to add this on the site. Why? Based on what? This is when you get into the hypothesis and the fixing. Very focused on, here's the problem, here's how we figured out the problem. Now we come up with the hypothesis. And again, the hypothesis, then you say, okay, now we have a hypothesis. Now let's go ahead and design it. After something is designed, it looks good. That's when you go into actual A/B testing. Lots of times, whenever people jump into A/B testing and they say, well, test this, test that, I'll tell them, I'm like, anybody can test. A/B testing in itself, maybe it was novel 10, 12 years ago. It's not novel anymore. And everybody can implement A/B testing. The trick is figuring out how to implement A/B tests that actually succeed. So that's what you want to think about. That's when you take the new design, you do some development, you make sure that the new design is not causing any bugs on the site. And when all of that looks good, that's when you launch your A/B test. Again, there's plenty of resources. You can go to our blog and we discuss all of these things in terms of launching A/B tests. After you launch your A/B test, for each A/B test, you do a post-test analysis. What did we learn from the test? Now, remember, the industry success rate for A/B testing is at 12%. If you're doing really well, you might do 15%. Following this process that I showed you today, we're able to deliver about 45% success rate. 45% of our A/B tests are successful. Now, with zGallery, by the way, our A/B tests are a 72% success rate. So it varies from one website to the next. But you want to know that not all of your tests are going to be winners, correct? Sometimes people tell me, well, no, I want them to be winners. Can you guarantee success? I'll tell them it's called A/B testing. If it's guaranteed results, there's no need for the testing. And you constantly want to get the sharing, and the learning from the organization, because that's what excites everybody. With that, I think we have taken the 45 minutes. I see some people are asking questions, so I'm going to try and answer some of the questions. I'm going to leave FigPy over here open. Let me just switch quickly and see some of the questions. Questions. Oh man, there is many questions. So I'm going to answer. A couple of the questions that we have. How can you make sure that you did not skip an important issue while you're prioritizing? Well, no. So you've captured all the issues, correct? And then you prioritize them. Now, at the end, you still, there's a human element where you go through the process and you think to yourself, okay, well, does this prioritization make sense? Because again, the prioritization, we use 18 different metrics and we try and make it as objective as possible. There's different prioritization frameworks available. The problem is I find them very subjective. So if you give the same list to different people, you just see different things where people are saying, well, yeah, this is a priority, and then somebody else saying it's not a priority. So we try and remove that prioritization from that subjectivity from the prioritization. Okay, and let me see. There's lots of again other question. I hope there is an article that we wrote about prioritization. And we actually make the Google Sheet or the Excel file available where you can use it to score every item. I think it will help you prioritize the items correctly. It will be again another question about prioritization. Maybe we'll do a webinar on prioritization. I think that will be helpful. Which confidence level are you usually using for declaring a winner on your version? So that's a very good question. So here's the thing: if you need to check this on your software. If you're using frequentist software, so Optimizely, VWO, some of the kind of the older software, you want to have a minimum of 95% confidence level, basically what we call 5% P level. That will give you confidence. And sometimes people tell me, well, we want to have something higher. Here's the thing. A/B testing and confidence levels are not new nor unique. By the way, the FDA has been using them to approve medicines forever. So most medicines are approved at 95% confidence levels. Some medicines, cancer medicines and whatnot, they're approved at 99%, life-threatening medicines. Some medicines are at 95%. There has been a very interesting research from Harvard talking about medicine, but I think we can apply it, where they were saying, listen, with some of the cures or some of the medicine that you buy, it's not life-threatening. So maybe you should require, and again, think about this, you should require for those to hit 99% confidence levels. But some medicine, for let's say cancer, people are going to die anyway. Maybe you should require an 80% or 85% because people are going to die. So we might as well try something even if it has lower confidence level. So this is sort of interesting if you apply it in an e-commerce context, and I don't want to remove the human element from that. That's if you were using frequentists. Now, FigPy, for example, does not use confidence levels because it uses Bayesian algorithm, which is faster in declaring a winner. And we use in it what we call the chance to beat the original. What are your chances? So that's what also Google Optimize uses. So it's Bayesian algorithm, chance to beat original. Usually, FigPy would declare a winner at 90%. We in our project would declare it at 95%. That's almost equivalent to a 97% confidence level for frequentist. Again, but if we use frequentist, it just takes almost like 1.5 times as long as Bayesian. So that's one thing that you wanna think about. With that, I hope you guys found the webinar interesting and helpful. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining the webinar. And until next time, again, I'm going to leave FigPy. You can sign up for a free account. If you sign up for FigPy, you probably get an email from me or my partner asking you if you need help setting up a test, getting on a quick call. And this is, again, just a call to help you get started with FigPy. Sometimes people like to bounce ideas off of us to ask just for feedback on type of testing that they're doing. I hope you guys have enjoyed the webinar, and until next time.